Scientists say climate change is increasing the intensity and frequency of heavy rainstorms. Coastal cities are doing their best to prepare for the threat of severe flooding and storms and potentially large rises in sea level.
Tonight we continue our series Eye on Earth. Nikki Batiste tours two communities that are turning to nature for help.
On the edge of New York's East River is an urban oasis, Hunters Point South Park. There are rows of seasonal plants, waves lapping at the shore, winding paths, and breathtaking views. But look closer.
We use materials that are rugged and plant material that is salt tolerant.
Tom Balsley designed this park. He says the landscape, while beautiful, also shields the community from superstorms.
If the water rises and comes in here, this synthetic turf actually soaks it up?
Yes, it's absorbent. In a big heavy storm, we almost have 500,000 gallons of water being held here, detained, until the tide or the storm leaves, and then it goes right back to the river.
Flower beds disguise a ditch and filtration system that capture and slowly release water back into the river. An outer wall protects marshes that fill and empty with the tide, but can be fully submerged in a storm.
You said that you design these projects to bend so they don't break. What's that philosophy?
Well, that's, in a way, that's what resilience is, isn't it? It can take those storms, it can take the hit, but you know it's going to bounce back.
Just over 100 miles south, the community of Southbridge in Wilmington, Delaware, isn't only battling superstorms.
Down here, this was totally underwater.
They're battling every storm.
When it rains and the Christiana River water rises above the floodgate cannot open. So the water just backs up into the community.
Neighborhood activists Marvin Thomas and Marie Reed have lived in this waterlogged community most of their lives.
What do you remember from your childhood?
Not sleeping the night it rained. My father would say, all hands on deck, because that means everybody's going to the basement ready to take buckets and get the flooding water out of the basement.
After decades of pushing for change, they may finally see some relief. This summer, the city broke ground on the South Wilmington Wetlands Park, a project designed to stop the flooding in much of the community.
And we'll accomplish that by putting a series of new stormwater pipes in the roads throughout the Southbridge community. Those pipes will divert water into this wetland park and eventually to the channels, where it'll circulate and then move into the Christina River.
But this hard-fought victory only solves flooding for roughly 2/3 of the neighborhood.
Do you think if this were a wealthy white community that you would have had change decades ago?
Yes. See, Marvin will smile at you. Marie's going to tell you, yes, I do. It would have been rectified a long time ago.
When did you start thinking about this?
Back in the 70s.
When Superstorm wasn't really on our minds or something we were conscious of. How did you have that foresight?
I lived here.
Well, News 8 will be reporting along with CBS for their special climate series Eye on Earth this week, leading up to the Climate Action Summit in New York City starting on September 23rd.